Shwmai a croeso cynnes, and welcome to the What's Your Story podcast. I'm James Owen, a Welsh filmmaker and storyteller, and I'm passionate about sharing stories. This podcast is all about business owners sharing their journey, and we'll be speaking with directors, entrepreneurs and creatives from all across Wales to learn from their experiences. We believe everyone has a story to tell. What's your story? Bore da, prynhawn da, whatever time of the day you are watching this back, or perhaps you're listening in the car, really thrilled to have you listen to another instalment of What's Your Story. We've had a lot of Llanelli business owners over the last couple of episodes. I'm really excited to welcome someone who represents one of my two favourite places to visit in Llanelli. One of them is a coffee shop, and the other is Beer Park. Dave, I am so pleased you came down to be on What's Your Story. Thank you for coming.
I'm delighted, James. Good to see you. Thank you.
Can you speak a bit of Welsh? Have you got a bit of Welsh for us today?
No.
So you're an Englishman who runs...
I'm an Englishman who runs a beer park in Llanelli, a beer shop in Llanelli, yes, true.
Brilliant. So for those listening or those watching who may have never even heard of Beer Park, I'm sure there's going to be a couple on the podcast today. What is Beer Park?
Beer Park, we're a bottle shop and a tasting room. I had tasting room because it's a bit poncy. It's not a bar, not a pub. We're more shop in that we do 600 lines of beer and cider, but it's all refrigerated, so you can drink in. So whenever we're open, you can have a beer. So our business is takeout, drink in. We do delivery. We're the biggest range of beer currently in Wales in any venue. So we do German lagers, Belgian ales. We do Welsh breweries, 50, 60 Welsh breweries, which I think is the most Welsh beer in a single venue anywhere in the world, unless anyone contradicts me. IPAs, sours, ciders. We do gift packs, subscriptions. Any way of getting beer to you, we will.
Wow. So you're quite passionate about beer, that's for certain.
You noticed, yes.
So Beer Park, it started back in 2021, I believe, yeah? So you haven't always run your own little beer tap room. Well, it's not a tap room, is it? It's beer shop, bottle shop. You've not always done that all these years. I'd love to hear how you ended up in Llanelli, first of all, because you live in Llanelli, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So my family used to come on holiday in Wales for many years. And when I was applying to university, I ended up in Lampeter in the middle of nowhere doing an archaeology degree. So I came down to Lampeter, and on the third day, I met a girl who ended up being my wife, who is from Llanelli.
And that was the third day of studying.
Third day of studying at university, yeah. So in 1986, I came to Llanelli for the first time, and we got married in 1989 in Buryport, and we lived away for a bit because my job. After archaeology, I needed a proper job. So
when you work in archaeology?
I could work in archaeology. It was cold and poorly paid, but very interesting. Anyway, I got a proper job. So I ended up working away as a program manager and a consultant over the years. But bringing up a family, we wanted to be based somewhere. And there's no better place to be based than Llanelli. So we moved here, 1995, in Furness, where we've been living for 30 years, brought up 2 children here. But I've been working away. So I worked away pretty much constantly until about 2019, when I finished my last contract. I took a break. I'm also a second-hand book dealer on the side, so I do that when I'm not contracting. And then lockdown happened. So I've always been interested in beer from a teenager, really. Started with real ales and then found Belgian beer, and then moved into sort of craft IPAs and craft beer. And we used to sit in bars over the years talking about what sort of shop you'd want to open, what pub you'd want to open, and have fantasies like that. But lockdown came along, and there's me sitting in my garage, listing books, thinking, can I do something else here? So I sat down one day and wrote a business case for the sort of shop/bar I wanted. And that's where Beer Park came from.
That's where Beer Park came from. Now, you used to do a lot of travelling, and you said that you're very inspired by a little place you used to visit on your travels in London.
Yes. So my last contract was 3 years for a medical regulator, and I was staying in Shoreditch. I don't know if you know Shoreditch, very nice part of East London, and walked into a small bar shop.
What was it called?
Called Kill the Cat. And
Kill the Cat.
It had been open about 2 weeks at that point, so the first few weeks it was just me and the bum. But then it had 150 beers, most of which I didn't recognise, and again, you could drink it. So over the months, we accumulated regulars, and these were people who didn't know each other apart from drinking in this bar. And London can be a very lonely place, so this sort of venue really works. So I was basically there for sort of 3.5 years, 4 years, and I was the oldest regular. I mean, for two reasons. First, I've been there longest, and actually I was the oldest regular. So I came back to Llanelli with this thought in my mind that this was a fantastic way of bringing people together over beer. And for me, that's what it's all about. Beer people are nice people, yeah, and they love to chat over a beer. So part of the inspiration for Beer Park, for me sitting in my garage, was that I could meet people who were into beer and have a venue where other people could find beer and talk to beerly people. So
there's something about having a drink, having a beer. I'll tell you a little story. This happened to me a couple of months ago. Me and my wife share a car now. So we try to manage logistics of getting to places. And I might be quite busy and going to meetings in Swansea or Cardiff or wherever that may be. So I've been trying to catch the train a lot. And it's been quite nice because sometimes you can do work on the train, which you can't do if you're driving, which is quite nice. And I was just in a mega rush one day. I was visiting a client in Swansea, and I know we needed to be back in Llanelli at a Teams meeting in the afternoon. And I was in Swansea Station, rushing to get the train. I saw the sign, the train to Carmarthen or Pembroke Dock or whatever it was to pass through Llanelli. And I saw the sign. I thought, right, the train's still there. I thought I missed it. Ran to get on the train, and literally just as I got on the train, the doors are closing. I was like, I made it, right, okay. And I was walking up. I was looking for a nice little table to do some work. And I sat down, and I saw this gentleman that was just in front of me, and I just started talking to him and said, do you mind if I sit here? Yeah, go on. So I just got chatting to this guy. And so I just asked him, what have we been up to today then? I've just been to court, and I'm heading back home. And I was like, right, where are you from then? I live in, I was in Merthyr, or Cardiff. It was somewhere that wasn't Llanelli. I then quickly realised I was on the wrong bloody train. So I wasn't going to Llanelli, and that's right, it was going towards Neath Port Talbot. So I had to then get off the Neath Port Talbot to catch another train to go back to Llanelli. I missed this Teams call. It was just a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, I was like, just panicking, a bit stressed. And then this lady comes up the corridor, up the path with the trolley, and she says, "Any drinks?" And this bloke said, "Get this man a beer." And he bought me a beer. And it turns out he was a barrister, and he'd been in court, and we had a good chat. But I had not met this person ever. Right? He was a complete stranger. And we were sharing a beer together on the train. Yeah. And it's just something about having a drink, whether it's you could be in a pub in London or you could be in Beer Park. And I could quite confidently have a conversation with an absolute stranger in Beer Park and potentially make friends with them.
Yeah. And I've seen you do that. So it's a challenge. I mean, I've travelled quite a bit, and you walk into any craft beer bar in the world, buy a beer, sit at the bar, turn to the person to the right of you and say, "No, what are you having then?" And that's all it needs. That's all it needs. It's remarkable to see.
What are you having then? What are you having? So let's talk about then Beer Park. You had this idea. So 2019, okay? You've had, let's call it, decades of experience in project management and consulting. Very experienced in that world. What was it for you then in 2019? You just thought, I want to take a break. Why was that?
Well, so I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, and frankly, I'd had enough of First Great Western. Sort of traveling to London. So, but it was, I took breaks periodically from contracting. So generally I got to the point where I was independent, and if there was an interesting job, I'd go and do it. But if there wasn't, I'd just stay at home listening books. This sort of, there was no plan really. It was just lockdown came along. And a lot of people in lockdown sort of started to think about, were they making the most of what they wanted to do? For me, there was no plan to it. I just sat down one morning and thought, I've been talking about sort of the beer business for ages. I mean, if I wrote something down, can I write a story about what I want? And sort of, it took me a day really, and Beer Park came out fully formed. But one thing, it was entirely based on what I wanted. It was not based on anyone else at all. So the big question for me was, if we built it, would anyone else come into it?
So Beer Park was completely selfishly,
entirely
your bar.
It was my home bar, which other people could come in.
Well, it's quite a nice home bar.
It is.
So did you think then? So there was a risk to this, right? You're essentially setting up your own business in Llanelli, and there's a bit of the mentality with anyone trying to start something in Llanelli. There's always a bit of backlash, isn't there?
No, there is. And and what we were talking about was a bottle shop, which is of an urban standard. It wouldn't be out of place in Bristol. It's the biggest thing in Wales. There's nothing like it in Cardiff of this size, and it's just quite affordable beers mostly, but there's some very expensive stuff in there. And I was told, don't open in Llanelli. Yeah, open in Swansea, open in Llandilo, open where there's more money and more people. Don't open in Llanelli. And I sort of swayed about that for a bit. So I did look around in those other places. But I live in Llanelli, and, running a beer shop in a distant location is difficult, because you sort of then to drive home. So so we found a venue in Davern Trade Park on the outskirts of town that seemed the right size and seemed relatively affordable. So we pitched it here. But we opened when I negotiated the lease for this place, I negotiated a 6-month break clause. I was that confident about how this would work. So there was every chance we'd open the door and I'd be there by myself. But anyway, so we opened the day before Father's Day in 2021, and within 10 minutes, we knew we were onto something. First, a number of people that badgering me to get in there before we opened. Yeah,
that's good.
And then, that day...
Pre-orders.
Yeah, we're queues. Yeah, so... And it was people, not just curiosity, coming out of curiosity. It was people coming in and knowing exactly what beer they wanted. People going in and going straight to the Belgian shelves and saying, right, okay, want that. So you could see there was an untapped market. And I must admit, circumstantially, lockdown did us a lot of good, because for our first 6 months, the pubs were intermittently not open, and Belgium had been closed as a location for 2 years. So everyone who loved Belgian beer couldn't buy it. So they couldn't buy it from us. So actually that sort of helped kick it off. So that's sort of where we started from. So it was quite promising.
And the community that you were a part of in London, in Shoreditch, they came to celebrate with you in the opening?
Yes. 20 buggers escaped the M25 and came down to Llanelli. I remember a particular friend of mine who's born and brought up in Brooklyn, then lived in London, so he'd not seen a cow.
American?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He'd not seen anything green for his entire life. Turned up in Llanelli station, and we thought, where's Justin gone? I don't know. Went to ring him, and he'd come out of Llanelli station and found the car in James, and he was in there. Now, isn't it? He's an outspoken.
The first place
you went to. Outspoken New Yorker. Yeah, and I'm thinking he's going to be stabbed. He's got a good line in sheep shagging jokes. He's going to be stabbed. And but so they all came down. So it was lovely.
He made it a beer park.
Yeah, he did, and it was a lovely weekend. So
fantastic, yeah. I learned very early on. I think it must have been about a week of you opening. Somebody had told me about it, and for me. I love Belgian beers now. Thanks to discovering all the beers in Beer Park, and
you're a case in point.
I'm a good case study. I think someone in Llanelli who knew nothing about beers around the world, and for me, I think I absolutely love Belgian blondes. They are my absolute favourite, and I love always cracking that joke because it sounds like I'm talking about a woman. I am married 4 years, and I do love saying that. Yeah, I like a Belgian blonde. I also like a blonde Glaswegian as well. Yeah, they're quite nice. They're quite nice. But yeah, I think the closest for me was like a Blue Moon. That was for me.
I think that's it. So, I talked about an initial demand and people coming in there, but obviously that wasn't a big enough market to keep us going. So I think what we've done is build a market, because a lot of people have come in and just confusion is the normal response. It's so much in there. So, we've seen, and I can probably list 20, 30 examples of people who have come in and not sure about what this is and started on the German lagers, and then they've found the Belgians, and then they've found the real ales, and then they've found the IPAs, and they might even move on to a sour.
I'm not there yet.
No, it takes a while. And, you've actually built a market. So one of the things we did do is we have beer tasting nights most weeks. And the beer tasting nights, they're great. So you come along, we serve 7 beers, different styles, do German, Belgian, Welsh, do a variety of tastings. And what it means is that people can try stuff, find out what they like and what they don't like. We don't have to have a lot of it. So if they don't like something, it's not a crisis. And you actually start to build a market for the beer. We run special tasting on a Sunday afternoon. We do 7 beers and cheeses, and we do 7 or 8 of those a year. And
when's the next one?
About that, do you?
I love cheese.
At this point, I don't need to advertise. I can fill it. We had 21 people for a Stouts and Porters tasting. We ran a Halloween into the dark Stouts and Porters tasting. Yeah. We got 21 people in for that, and I didn't need to advertise it. There's a group comes down from Gloucester.
What?
For our Sunday tastings. They come every time. So there's one of the guys is in Llanelli. He's got friends from Gloucester. They come down for the tastings.
Brilliant.
So and again, a community of people, that will come every time. A lot of whom don't know each other or didn't know each other before meeting in Beer Park. So.
The term lead magnet comes to mind in the sort of sales and marketing world. That's what a tasting is, right? Somebody comes along, they test it out, then you got a lead magnet. Because to you, it's a customer who wouldn't necessarily walk through the doors, maybe get invited by a friend. And that's what's happened with me. I invite a friend, we come along to a tasting, and they enjoy it, and then they tell me, oh yeah, I went down to buy some beer, because they don't know about it. Because if you look at maybe, Furnace Rugby Club as an example, my home rugby club, if I look at the beers that they have there now, I'm far less likely to drink a lot of them because there's not a lot of choice. 5 years ago, when I was playing rugby, I would quite often go for a Staropramer or a Madri. We've got Madri now. That's quite new in Furnace Rugby Club over the last year, let's say. But I would love to see a Belgian blonde. And if you look around pubs in Llanelli, clubs in Llanelli, it's Coors, Foster's, Carlin, Strongbow. Oh.
Yeah. I am conscious that I've ruined quite a lot of people and their enjoyment of pubs because they don't see the range and they're used to something different, something better. And we had a conversation about this before we started. and I could rant for hours on, Molson Coors and the concept of pubs that aren't tied are free houses in theory, but have been bribed by big breweries to offer the same beers that are in Tesco's. And I fail to see how I should go into a pub and be charged twice the amount for a beer that's in Tesco's. Anyway, I'll stop at that point because this could be another hour.
It could be a part 2 maybe.
Certainly.
But Beer Park, I absolutely love it. I always have a great time going there. And you certainly didn't build Beer Park on your own. And I remember I went probably the first week. I met you. You instantly, hi, welcome to Beer Park. What do you like? Oh, well, I don't know. I'm here to try some. I think Blue Moon must have been one of them.
Yeah.
And you must have gone straight to, okay, Belgians. Here are the Belgians. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I started off drinking then. I think Westmalle Trappist was one of the first and absolutely loved it. It was just so, so nice. And I was like, okay, I got to go back. I remember telling Amy about this place. And I think about a week later, I came back. Or it might have been a couple of weeks after. And I walked in and I see this girl at the bar. And I said, hello, is Dave in? No, Dave isn't here today. I thought, And I've said this to her. I thought a woman in the bar, she's not going to have a clue about all these beers. And she was asking me questions. And straight away, she knew her stuff. And she introduced me to some cracking beers. And that person is Fran.
She is. So I think that's one thing that really matters. So the range of beers we've got is unknown in this area. So the staff in there is critical, absolutely critical, to find the right beers for people. Now, my big concern when opening Beer Park was if it was just me that had that knowledge, I'd be nailed to the bloody place every day of the week for years. Which your wife probably wouldn't have liked. Certainly not. So, and I thought, well, how do I do this? Because I've got to find someone in Llanelli who knows about the beers, and a friend of my daughter, Kezia O'Hare, was she was into a beer, so I offered the job to her originally. She was busy doing something else, so she referred me to Fran, who strangely ran an Instagram site called Fran's Got Cans at the time.
Okay,
which is about a beer Instagram site. So
well, that looks good in a CV.
So yeah, so Fran came in and she knows. She didn't know about all the ranges, but she did her IPAs and pales, what she does particularly. She's got a fantastic administrative ability, and she's very good with people. So all of a sudden, I've got this person who is absolutely qualified to run Beer Park when I'm not there, and I think she'd prefer that most of the time. She's been working there with me for 3.5 years. She's absolutely essential to Beer Park, So I think that experience you've had is the experience other people have had. They've come in and said, "Do you do carling?" I have been asked that, and we say, "Well, no, we're not judging about this. No, but have you tried this?" You give them something like Augustine or Lager Ale, which is our best-selling beer in the entire shop, and is a fantastic German lager. And you have that, you will not look back. Yeah, you will not look back.
And for you to look back now and see that you've been going for 3 years, you're right. If you were there on your own, you wouldn't leave the place. You'd be there all the time.
Be stuck.
So, how important is it to get the right people in your team?
It's absolutely critical. I've been into I mean, I know, so upselling is a bit of it, I suppose, but it's just the general response. If you go into Beer Park, can be confusion. You don't know where to start. You have a tendency to walk out. So introducing people to the beer is essential, and it's. I've walked into craft shops around the country and the person behind the bar takes the money and I'm thinking, that's not what you want. You have to have people who are enthusiastic about what you're offering and able to engage. So,
and I think, is it fair to say Fran is more enthusiastic than you?
I think we're both equally enthusiastic.
Both equally enthusiastic. That's good. But yeah, 3 years plus, and Beer Pack is still going. You thought, okay, I can give it 6 months, and some people come to my bar, then great, and they did. Brilliant. Okay, so great. I absolutely love Fran. Whether you're there, I do enjoy coming to see you, Dave. But when Fran's there, me and my wife always have a good chat with her, and to see that she actually does know her stuff. And I was sort of guilty of seeing Fran there. Thought, oh, she's not going to know about this. Because I thought you were the expert, right? When you think of Beer Pack, you think of Dave. And, when she started talking about all these beers and what I could drink, I thought, okay, she actually does know her stuff. And I think that's really important is when you grow on a team, is bringing people on board who know their stuff. Because if they don't know their stuff, it's quite hard. If you're a one-man band and you're doing everything, then you don't rely on any other people, right? But when you're starting to grow a small business, you've got to bring people in who know that industry, know your audience, know what you sell, know the service offering. Because if you don't, it can be a little bit tricky, and your reputation is perhaps can be damaged in that sense. So yeah, you can always trust that if you're away in Germany or Belgium doing market research, Fran's looking after the shop, isn't she?
She is, and from the off, that's worked very well.
So you didn't build Beer Pack on your own. Fran's a key part of that journey, but Beer Pack is all about the experience. I think if you look at the sort of culture in Llanelli with going out and drinking, it's like that of any kind of town or city in the UK. You just want to go out and get absolutely smashed. That's kind of the mentality a lot of people have, on the weekends. But Beer Pack is not about that, is it?
Oh, I've used the term mindful drinking, and for me, that's it. There is a perception that what we sell is expensive. It really isn't, and we've got groups who spent the evening in Beer Park absolutely shocked by the tab at the end of the evening because, two things really. Firstly, if you're aware of what it is you're drinking and you choose the beer every time specifically and taste it, you will drink less of it. So we're not talking about sitting down and knocking back 5 pints of Stella Artois of an evening, which you don't realise is going down, you're just consuming. So I think there is something about sort of conscious drinking, conscious choosing the beer. You also then drink less of it, to be fair. So it does come out quite affordable, if I say so myself.
Yeah, I think I had my 5th birthday party in Beer Park a couple of months ago, and I was actually quite surprised at the tab. I thought I was going to go over the limit and pay a bit more.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think you set a limit for a tab that managed to last the entire evening, despite the fact you got how many people in there?
Oh, I don't know how many people came. About 20-ish, just shy maybe. Yeah, it was good going. Okay, brilliant. You're based in Llanelli. You've been living in Llanelli for all these years. You're quite passionate about other businesses in Llanelli thriving, and I think you've got a good proof of concept here of okay, this beer thing works in London. Okay, you looked at Llanelli. It doesn't have it. There's a market for it, and you were told, don't do it in Llanelli. If I was told in that position, that probably would have motivated me a bit, to like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong that this can work. So you've had somewhat success, and I hope that continues to grow in Beer Park. But how can businesses in this town succeed and thrive?
Yeah, I think there's a negative perception of the town, and the negativity about the town is absolutely massive, really. But I'm quite conscious that if we're to fix our problems, it is not going to come from money from somewhere else, because there isn't any.
What if the council give us some money? Will that fix it?
yeah, we might. I mean, we can redecorate the shops, the empty shops. They look lovely. I mean, it's not going to work. What's going to work? What's going to work is if we can attract more businesses, more employers, and more visitors. Because we are now quite a large tourist area. We don't feel that, but the people who come here and visit absolutely do. So, and we are going to attract more businesses by talking positively about the town. Now, we know the town centre suffers from problems, but you look at the wider area of Llanelli, I'm positively convinced it's a great place to live, work, and raise a family. And if we can present Llanelli like that, we will bring more businesses in and more visitors in. The more businesses and more visitors we have, the easier it will be for us to fill the town centre with more shops and more experiences. So I firmly believe that we just need to change the way we talk about our area. And basically, our story is not our problems. So I think that for me, I think is necessary. And I know there's a load of examples around the town and in the wider area. We've got some fantastic businesses. We've got some very unlikely businesses running. I mean, we talked about Unit 7 earlier today, which is, a garage turned coffee shop. I mean, where did that come from? Turned bar? So we do have some fantastic inspirational businesses. Even some of our big manufacturers, which we still have, are sort of world leading. So, in that sense, I'm quite positive if we recognise it and talk about it that way.
I think it's down to mindset, and it's mindset with the people. How do you change the mindset of a town?
This is a question because I've taken on the Chamber of Trade recently, and that is
President of the Chamber of Trade and Commerce.
Thank you, James.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it's changing the mindset of the town is key. Because, I mean, something that, a real example, the MIU, MIU's closing. It's not going to be 24 hours. Yeah? And how they are indicated, it's not a financial problem, actually. It's a recruitment problem. So where do doctors want to go and work? Doctors want to go and work in thriving, pleasant communities. Do we present ourselves as a thriving, pleasant community? I don't think we do. So if we looked at what we've got, Llanelli's cleaner and greener than it ever has been. It's got more retail space than when I first came here. It's just not where it used to be. There's thriving businesses, and the hinterland of Llanelli is fantastic. There's more attractions than there ever has been. Yeah. So there's a real positive story there. So if we can tell that story, we'll get more people. And interesting thing about Beer Park is that we have quite a lot of people who've moved to Llanelli from elsewhere. And I think a case in point, a couple that came on holiday to Llanelli for many years decided to move during lockdown and bought a house in Llanelli and think the place is absolutely fantastic. And they're not the only ones, So we need to learn, I think, from the people who choose Llanelli now. And Llanelli, and I'm talking about Llanelli 2025. I know we've got a massive heritage, but it's not just about the heritage. I think it's about what we are now that matters.
Yeah, that's great. And if people can see that, and they are from a completely different area, and I know loads of people who relocated from England and beyond, if they can see the potential in Llanelli, it baffles me why we, in our own town, it's like we've all got tunnel vision. We don't actually see what's on our doorstep. And if those people outside can see the potential in the town, we need to try and do our bit as residents of Llanelli to help encourage those in our community to change the mindset. Because if you just have a positive mindset on what Llanelli can be, we know there is opportunity. I know as a filmmaker and a storyteller, I don't need to go to live in London or Cardiff. I can run a story-driven video production company right from my hometown. And there's opportunities for all of those people who are in creative industries and beyond. And, there's so many examples of successful businesses and with health. Well, that's maybe a big point, isn't it? Like healthcare at the moment, that's a real issue in the town. And you're right, it's not a financial problem. Not to say the NHS has loads of money, because it doesn't. But however, they've closed it for safety reasons, right? Because there's not enough doctors and nurses. There's plenty. If you look at Swansea University, they're training thousands and thousands of doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
So we're not short of them, that's for sure. But it's maybe encouraging them why they would want to work in our local hospital and why they would want to choose to live in Llanelli. And it's about changing their mindset.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So quick fire questions. What's your favourite beer?
I tend to go to Belgian beer more often than not.
Good choice.
So for me, it's something like Orval, which is a 6.2 Trappist with a slightly wild yeast, which is just really, really interesting. But I'm often asked this question, and I would genuinely not turn down any beer we stock, apart from one, which is a German Rauch beer, just smoked lager, which is absolutely vile. But we do sell quite a bit of it, so I'm not saying don't try it. It's not for me. So I think the interesting about Beer Park is that if you don't like one beer, you got another one. So there's plenty there. So
yeah, I remember trying this beetrooty one. Was there a beetroot beer?
Oh, Duchess de Bourgogne. Yeah, really, it's a really
disgusting
odd and lovely beer, and you either think it's the best beer you've ever had,
it's like Marmite,
or you'll hate me for giving it to you.
Yeah.
So one of them.
It's always good to try it. Okay, where's your favorite part of the world to explore beer?
I tend to spend a week in Belgium every year. So yes, I would say Belgium. Really, just come back from North Rhine-Westphalia, so Dusseldorf, Dortmund, and Munster. That's interesting. Like Munich, so Prague is very good. I think, interestingly, most places in the world now have a beer culture of some sort. So I think you can find good beer generally anywhere if you look.
Look hard enough. Okay, great. Well, my absolute favourite beer is the Westmalle Trappist. It's a blonde Belgian, and it is just absolutely amazing. The Castile Triple comes very, 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 very close. Yeah. And I was absolutely thrilled. I remember me and Amy went to watch, it wasn't Ed Sheeran. Was it Ed Sheeran? We went to watch somebody in Leeds. Lewis Capaldi. Ed Sheeran and Lewis Capaldi, two very different people. And we went to Leeds to watch him, and we found this little pub, and it was great right there. I saw Charcuterie. Friends of Ham, I think the place was called. Brilliant place, right? And we found it. I could see it had Charcuterie on the signage. I love Charcuterie, I'm there. And they had bottles of Westmalle Trappist. I was so excited, and I thought, oh my gosh, I discovered this in Beer Park, and it's here in Leeds. This is amazing. Oh, it was incredible. But Westmalle Trappist is my absolute favourite. And for the Stori Cymru,
you're aiming to put it in Furnace Rugby Club if you can do it.
Oh, I can. Well, I've got some influence now, so maybe I can make that happen. Maybe I can change the tills and make it like £1 a bottle, maybe. We'd lose a lot of money.
Yeah, you'd lose a lot of money, but
that might be good. But Westmalle Trappist, and actually for the Stori Cymru 5th birthday party, a lot of people tried it, and I had some good feedback, Dave. People liked it, which is good. Okay, I want to talk to you about something really exciting, but a positive news. So it's great to see that you've been going for more than 3 years, and a lot of businesses don't make that. So that's an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
However, you've been nominated or shortlisted for quite a big award. And I think it's something that in your industry means a lot. It is the best independent beer and cider retailer of the year, UK?
Yes.
Did I get that right? It was a bit of a mouthful. Spot on.
Yeah, really good.
So you've been nominated and you've made the shortlist.
Yeah, this is quite bizarre. So we were nominated. There was Ask Reply. May, and this award is sponsored by Drinks Retailing News, and is the premier award for drinks retail in the UK. So some of the categories the supermarkets are up for, the chains are up for, but they've also got independent categories as well. So I applied and put a form in, and got noticed that we'd been shortlisted. It was very nice. So we had the mystery shopper in, who was a mystery, so we can't quite tell who it was. But I think we didn't spit on them, so that's all right. And then I had a call with the judge, interview with the judge. So it's a judged award. It's not a popular award. It's a judged award. And that went well. And I asked the judge at the end, I said, okay, what's the next stage then? Thinking we were going to be shortlisted. And he said, oh, well, no, that's it now. When do we hear? Oh, well, no, you'll hear on the awards night. I said, what? I said, yeah, you're down to the last three. And we've got the awards night in the Dorchester in February. So this is just completely bonkers. I mean, we're a small bar in the trade park in West Wales. I mean, how we manage this, I have no idea.
So you might be sitting on the table next to somebody from Tesco's, or
indeed, yeah. So it'll be a weird experience, really.
Well, I'd love you to win it. That would be absolutely amazing. But
yes,
if you don't, that's probably still a huge achievement in itself.
Really, yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're going to win. Beer's going to win.
Thank you very much.
Beer's going to win. Hope. Can I influence the vote? Can we phone in or something?
People ask that, and I actually, what you can do. I was thinking of this. What you can do is I try and attract sort of Google recommendations, and I've got I think I've got 4,000 customers of Ferry Mill with us. So I know we've been serving 4,000 to 5,000 people, all of whom tell me it's lovely, and we have 170 Google recommendations.
170.
Now, we have 170. And
that's a lot.
And they're all 5-star. We don't have any Google check-ins that are not 5-star. So that's quite good. But
that's more than quite good.
It is. But why have we only 170 of them? So the judges will look at our Google and our website. So if you want to do me a favor, get on there and say something nice on Google about us.
I'll absolutely do that. I might have already have. I think maybe 3 years ago I put a review in. Yeah. But I'll check it out for sure.
Interestingly, we're also on TripAdvisor as well, because we run events. We're sort of on TripAdvisor as an attraction. So currently on TripAdvisor, what to do in Llanelli, I think we're 5th. We were 4th, but we dropped off one. So yes, we're the 5th best thing to do in Llanelli.
Come on, Fran, sort it out.
Yes.
So get to number one. Get to number one. Great. Well, I've loved hearing all about the story of Beer Park. And this podcast is all about stories. And I'd love to hear, Dave, from you personally, as somebody who has a lot of experience now in the sort of beer industry, but you've got lots of other interests. You run a bookshop, an online bookshops, second-hand bookshop. You're in a choir yourself. You're a bassist. A bassist, alto?
I'm a bass.
You are a bass. Not a bass guitar. He's a bass singer.
Certainly not a bass guitar.
Certainly not a bass guitar. You've got less than 6 strings. I'd love to hear, who would you like to listen to if you had an opportunity to sit down in front of somebody very influential, somebody very inspirational? We're all about stories. Whose story would you love to hear?
Yes, I'd sort of been thinking about this, but you sort of landed the question on me this morning. And the person that came to mind is a person called Kerith Owens. Now, I sort of came across Kerith. Kerith is in the bass and the choir, so that's how I met Kerith initially. And this year he's also president of Rotary, so he's very active in the community generally. But anyway, that's not why I think you should interview him. He is the lead in LARS, Loud Applause Rising Stars, where he promotes young singers. And certainly the level of quality of what they do. And they select young singers from South Wales, give them support, mentorship, and give them performing opportunities. And they've got some of their past young singers have been. I mean, one I think was on the West End stage in Les Mis.
Samuel Morris.
Samuel Morris.
He was in my class in school.
Yeah. So he's been there. You've got people throughout in the conservatoires across the country are past students of Lars. So get Kerrith in.
I'll definitely have to get him in. I mean, I'm not a musician. I can play a bit, but I enjoy music. So yeah, that would be really interesting. But Sam, I was in school with, to see somebody from Llanelli, and there's been lots of people who have performed in the West End. Llanelli's a bit of a training ground for those sorts of people. But to see someone I was in class with sing a lead part in Les Mis, there's like no bigger musical in the West End than that.
But I think another thing we don't recognise is you look at, say, something like Llanelli Youth Theatre, which I think has been going for 40 years, and is a really hard training ground for young actors. And the number of people who have come out of that is massive. So my daughter ended up in Drama Centre in London in doing acting degree. At the same time, the president of Llanelli Youth Theatre at the time ended up in RADA, so the premier drama school in London. And I think in 2020, the final year plays of both drama schools, the lead role was from Llanelli Youth Theatre. Wow. And it's recognising things like that are sort of incredible.
Brilliant. So yeah, Llanelli is very creative, that's for sure. I'm quite proud to be somebody from Llanelli, to see so many people in the town involved in that space, and to see people succeeding. And it goes to show, if you're from Llanelli, you can actually have success in whatever you do, whatever you put your hand to. We can actually have opportunities for us here as people of Llanelli. And long may it continue, not just for us, but for those in our community, Dave. I've loved listening to the story of Beer Park, and I had no idea it was actually inspired by this place in London. So you've gone on to see and be a part of a community, a beer community in London, and you've gone and brought that to the town of Llanelli, which 3 years ago when it's still strong and growing, which is exciting to see. Now, if people want to discover Beer Park, they fancy a beer, how do they find out more about Beer Park?
Ooh, well, I think it's interesting. We try and be all over social media and advertisers, but we're still finding new people who didn't know we're there, which is quite odd. So we're in Daventry Park. We're just off Pemberton Road, behind Tool Station. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, mostly shop hours, so we're closed generally by 7. Apart from occasionally, Fridays we tend to open later. So everything we do is on a website, beerpark.co.uk. So have a look at that. We do free delivery locally, we deliver nationally, and our events are all on there. So if you want to come and try us out, just come for a beer tasting, or just call in and drink from the fridge. So we try and do a bit of outreach. So I'm keen on getting good beer across the town. So we provide Llanelli House with beer, Humble stock our beer as well, and we run probably 4 or 5 times a year bars. So we run bars for all the online Etley events in Vaughan Street. So we have 6 beers on tap, including Westmarket Double we have this year on tap. So that was great. And we do occasional stalls. So Sunday I shall be in Fosslas selling gift packs for Christmas. So that's how to find us. Well,
if you're looking for a Christmas present this year, go to Beer Park. You'll find something for any person, I'm sure. And are there any discount codes or vouchers for What's Your Story listeners?
Just for you?
Just for me?
We do a loyalty scheme. So basically you get points for every beer you buy, and you can take up to 20% off any orders.
I think I've got a few points.
You got a few points. You have to cash them in.
I need to cash them in. Dave, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you. And yeah, I've loved to hear about the Stori Beer Pack. And it'd be nice in a couple of years to hear it going beyond 3 years, 6 years, 10 years, who knows?
Yeah, indeed. It's been fab, James. Thank you very much.
Diolch.